Welcome to Innovators and Impact, the #1 business podcast in the Bahamas and the fastest growing in the Caribbean. This is the show where industry trailblazers and creative minds share their secrets to success. Each episode, we sit down with leading experts from diverse fields to uncover how cutting-edge ideas and powerful communication strategies converge to create remarkable impact. From CEOs to thought leaders and entrepreneurs, to media moguls and creatives, our guest reveals the stories behind their successes and the successes of their organizations. We also chat about the role that content, branding, and communications play in their journeys. So, get ready for this inspiring conversation with actionable insights and a behind-the-scenes look at how and what it takes to lead in today's ever-evolving landscape. I'm your host, Ethan Quant. Our guest today is a visionary leader dedicated to driving meaningful change for small businesses and entrepreneurs across the Bahamas. As the executive director of the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, she combines strategic vision with a deep passion for economics and business development, empowering businesses to innovate and build a resilient economy. Before stepping into this role, she led the external relations at the SBDC and played a key part in shaping the Bahamas' National Development Plan. She also represents the Bahamas on the board of the Caribbean Export Development Agency and serves as chair of the Inter-American MSME Authorities for the Organization of American States. It is our pleasure to welcome to Innovators and Impact, Ms. Samantha Rolle. Sam, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I have had the privilege of knowing you for a number of years. I can't pinpoint exactly where. Maybe you could remind me. But I know that I have known Samantha Rolle for some time. And I have had the privilege of following your career. But for those who may not be familiar with who you are and what you do, I just want you to kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Wow. Samantha Rolle, at the moment, I'm the executive director of SBDC, as you mentioned, right? But it certainly has been a journey to get there. But who I am is not just a professional. Who I am is a mother, so I have this very charming, very demanding 3-year-old, about to be 4 in about 2 weeks. Who I am is embedded in family. And so I believe very strongly in my tight-knit family. And I don't necessarily mean family as in just blood relatives. But certainly I think that, we have crossed paths, different groupings, circles for many years. And I think primarily through my profession or my professional journey, as I should say. And so, I started out very much so in the commercial banking space. And so I actually used to work for Fidelity. And from then to now, I would always call on one of my mentors, Mr. Gregory Bethel, to this day, And so I started out in financial services. I have worked across operational management. I've worked for one of the largest well-known accounting firms, but that was more so in the risk advisory and consulting arm of the firm. So they referred to as one of the big fours, right? I am a certified project manager. I think the most endearing work that I have ever done, besides working with SBDC, has been the National Development Plan. Another tremendous individual and mentor would be Dr. Nicola Virgil Rolle. And so I enjoyed that journey. I enjoyed that interaction. Most importantly, the work within itself and the impact to our country as a national initiative was tremendously fulfilling.
Did you know that video standard operating procedures, or video SOPs, are revolutionizing how compliance officers ensure consistency and accuracy across teams? Gone are the days of relying on long text-heavy documents. Video SOPs bring procedures to life, making complex compliance protocols easier to understand and to follow. For busy compliance teams, this visual approach speeds up onboarding, reduces the risk of errors, and helps employees retain critical information more effectively. Studies show that people remember 95% of a message when they watch it on video, compared to just 10% when they're reading it in a text. Plus, video SOPs can be assessed anytime, anywhere, making them ideal for today's remote and hybrid work environments. Embracing video SOPs doesn't just enhance compliance, it strengthens your team's overall efficiency, alignment, and ability to meet standards. So if you're a compliance officer looking to keep your team sharp, consistent, and compliant, video SOPs are the future. You don't want to miss it. Follow Lifestyles DMG on all socials for more industry insights, and stay tuned for more Did You Knows. Until next time. I want to get an appreciation for, like, what drives you? What is your why? Why progress? Why go from here to here to here to here to where we are now?
I can tell you that my why has shifted perhaps twice in my lifetime, right? And so at the very beginning, the onset, I was driven by pure ambition. I was driven by the approval or acceptance of my family, my parents, my grandmother, to make sure that I made them proud. That was my why. I was driven by, I want to be able to leave a footprint behind in our local community on a national level. That was my why. And so from the onset to the birth of my son, I was driven by that. And I worked constantly to, and in some degree, figure it out along the way, right? So, some may view, an individual like myself and similar others as though they always have it together. They know exactly from point A to point A to point B to point C. And that's not necessarily the case in all circumstances.
Okay.
I think for the most part, yes, being very strategic, planning my journey along the way. But obviously, things don't always go according to plan, right? There are always hiccups, there are always setbacks, there are even sometimes failures. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. It's how you rebound, it's how you get back up, it's how you proceed. But my life, in the beginning part, my journey was about ambition, was about leaving a mark, was about making my parents and my grandmother proud. Since the birth of my son, February 9th, 2021. It's more so now about how do I further create an environment, a community, a country to where he can thrive. Not just make it, not just be there, but thrive. It has to be that way. He's a young Black Bahamian boy that has to be able to thrive in the Bahamas. How do I contribute to that?
Let's unravel the mystery of named drivers versus open coverage. Named drivers are specific people listed on your policy who are allowed to drive the insured vehicle. Open coverage allows anyone with your permission to drive your car, offering more flexibility. NUA offers open driver coverage for any driver on your policy aged 25 to 70 at no additional cost. You will have to list persons either under 25 or over 70 on your policy for an additional premium. Think about who might need to use your car most often, then choose wisely for your driving needs and talk to us about all your options.
For those who may not be familiar with the SBDC and
Yes.
the work that you guys are doing there, just kind of, if you can share a bit about that work.
Right. The SBDC was born and birthed to support, to equip, to facilitate the empowerment of micro, small, and medium-sized businesses across the archipelago. From where it was in 2019, my predecessor and those involved did a yeoman's job in standing up an organization. And so the team, we've worked to date to, as we call it, to cause that evolution of the SBDC. And what I mean about that is, and in any business, there's an evolution. You go through a phase in your business journey. And so what we did was we looked to see, where are some of those gaps in terms of needs? How can we plug those gaps and provide a greater need? How can we extract the information from the target audience, from the grouping that we are here to support, to understand their needs? So we were able to do that. We've done it. We continue to find ways to reimagine, right? To redefine. Because what we did yesterday, that's yesterday. So today, SBDC, I think, is the premier support organization for all micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in this country.
Hey guys, Brennan here from Vine Tree Holdings, the parent company of Oasis and Tropics. I'm here now at the soft opening that I've got to admit has been 2 years of pure stress, but it's turned out to be something completely beautiful. We're excited for you to come and try out some of our fresh produce, buy some meat, as well as get something from our deli.
What does it mean to be an Oasis member?
So, you get the convenience, you get the accessibility, you get the fresh products, produce, and also products that you don't normally get in the Bahamas that you can bring over from overseas.
I know sometimes we like to complain about the inaccessibility of things, but Oasis Fresh literally is able to bring in anything you can imagine, anything you can find in the US or elsewhere. They have the capabilities to bring in for you, so there's no excuse, right?
So today went incredible. The staff did wonderful. Our team was here tirelessly throughout the night. And I'm very proud of what they've accomplished here today. Thank you guys again, and I'm so excited to have you a part of this big journey that we're about to begin.
Wow. I mean, spoken like an executive director at SBDC. No, I mean, how you communicate so clearly, right? And I can't get over the fact that you're speaking with such passion, right? And I'm a firm believer that, our childhood experiences shape us into the people that we are. I'm interested in learning a bit about those experiences that shaped Sam, little Sam, little Sam running around the backyard had, that shaped you to be somebody who was so compassionate but also so capable, and so committed, and to move with conviction. And so I'm very interested in learning a bit about those, if you don't mind sharing.
I am the eldest of four, right? I think my father probably thought he was having a boy. So they had to switch the Sam to Samantha.
Okay.
But I was my father's first child.
Okay.
My father is, I guess I call him, he worked at the Defense Force.
Okay.
So I almost call it like, I grew up in boot camp, so to speak, right? Definitely, part of the armed forces and the things that he did. But I think I'm a product of a very strong network, a network entrenched in some convictions and values around work ethic, around, if something doesn't go your way, you don't cry over spilled milk. What are you going to do about it? I remember one occasion, I think I was doing an internship at this company, and I called home crying about how mean my boss is. And I called my dad. So I love both my parents. They've both contributed to who I am. I mean, distinctly. I'll say I'm a daddy's girl,
Okay.
right? I called my dad crying about how, my boss is so mean and oh my God. And you know what he said to me? What are you crying for? Do you know how many persons don't have this opportunity that you have? What are you crying about? He literally said to me, suck it up and do what you have to do. And at first I thought, oh, he's not listening to me, right? I felt dismissed. But I've grown to realize that that was the type of advice I needed, right? Because it says that things won't always go your way. You're going to take, your blows, and, people won't always be kind. People won't always do as you expect. But what are you going to do about it? You're going to cry, complain? Right. No. Right? I've had experiences where my grandmother, my late grandmother, Agatha Young, and I miss her to this day, and her death really, really hit me because we were very close. One thing about her is that she valued family and she valued friendship. I watched her take people in, give her last to help someone pay a utility bill, give them advice on what they're doing. And I watch her coach my older cousins about their life. I've watched her raise some of my cousins. I've watched her raise some of their children. It's just, to me, all of that is compassion. Right? That is a capacity beyond, I think, some people would ever know about.
My name is D'Angelo Wims. I'm an estate agent with Keys Bahamas Realty. My goal is always to impact others' lives positively. And getting into real estate, I found out that the biggest investment people make typically is making that a first home ownership investment. We were looking for a new spot here in the West because, of course, everyone knows the West is affluence and it has a lot of opportunity for clients and understanding of the real estate market. When we found Access Co-work Suites, we found out first off that we could have a unit where we can actually network with other individuals. And real estate being an industry where relationships and networking is paramount, it suited us perfectly. So the ability to meet new industry professionals and to meet other entrepreneurs in their own respective professions gives us the ability to network that much more effectively, and Access has provided that for us. Access has provided, I think, every member here with the ability to have carefree concentration. You can be disciplined as you want to be, and you can have a quiet, comfortable environment to do so in. You're gonna find more individuals, you're gonna network, you're gonna get more business, more clients, and you're going to grow inevitably. So if you're thinking about why you should come to Access, ask your business if it wants to grow.
I'm interested in seeing or getting an appreciation for your vision
Mm-hmm.
of the Bahamas that you want Aiden to grow up in? Like,
Yeah.
what does it look like?
Yeah.
Because you said, you know, now it hits home, right?
It does.
You have Aiden, and so when you're helping these entrepreneurs and business owners and everybody else in the community and things like that, all of this is in an effort to, what are we looking at? Like, I would love to get some insight from you on that.
So I think, you know, naturally you try to start with the end goal in mind, right? So I think that's what you're asking me. You know, basically, what is your vision of the Bahamas in which Aiden will be able to thrive in?
Yeah.
And so, boy, let me tell you, we could stay here for hours talking about that. But I think there are a few things that is so important. And so, one, I think we need to look at the people part of it, right? I say that because it is really that driving force that's going to make up what the Bahamas looks like in 10, 15, 20, 25 years. I believe that it is really based on people's driving forces, right? How we perceive things, what it is that we are embedding into our young, architects in high school and preschool. So that's what I mean by shaping and shifting the mindset of our people. So if we wanted to talk about financial prudence, financial literacy is what we say, right? That should start from young. That should start from very young, to understand the value of money,
Right.
to understand the value of using other people's money, to understand how that can impact over time and time. I think we need to shift the mindset of our people from even a value perspective. So what I mean by that, back in the day, you know, growing up or spending summers time in Exuma, because my father is from Exuma.
Okay.
So I used to spend summers in Exuma. And I had to go and take a pitcher of ice to the next door neighbor because my grandmother then needed something that neighbor had. And so there was this barter system, right? So yes, there's a terminology for it, but that was basic for them on the island.
Right.
You know, I need ice, you need something else, whether it was sugar. And that was that exchange. And I say that to say that back then you had that neighborly support just within the community.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have that today. Even I am guilty of it. You know, I spend a long day at work, I pull up in my driveway and I go in my house. I barely see my neighbors. I barely know, right, who some of my neighbors are. I think that too plays an impact on our mindset because we lose connectivity.
Tashura Wallace, owner of Wally's Convenience Store. We're located in the Bean and Grantstown community. We've been here for about 15 years. I had a fire in the store, so I had to build back up, you know, find resources and, you know, to get the store back up and running. The Scotia representative, Miss Tina Williams, she called me. About a day later, 2 days later, she came out to me for me to sign the paperwork. About 2 days later, I had the funds on my account. When she had called, it was like just in the nick of time. I was able to bring the store back and also get some additional space, needed space, warehouse space, storage space for both me and my staff to try and make us more comfortable. My business has grown since I've joined Scotiabank, since I opted to go over to them. You know, I've got a business credit card, something that I haven't had within the 10 years that I was in business. Listen, don't be like me. Don't wait 10 years. Get with Scotiabank because they are definitely the bank for commercial customers. Don't be like me.
Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes at a company? Behind the scenes videos are an incredible way to give your audience an authentic, unfiltered look into the heart of your brand. But here's the real question. How much do these videos actually impact the way people connect with the brand? Do they build trust, make the company feel more human, or do they just offer a peek behind the curtain that doesn't add much value? We want to know what you think. Drop a comment below. How important are behind-the-scenes videos in corporate media, and do they really make a difference in how we see brands? Let's hear your thoughts. Follow us for more industry insights and corporate media solutions.
Well, I would say before we wrap up, Sam, are you inspired to share anything at all with our audience before you?
I think there's one thing that kind of, as they say, drop in your spirit, right? And it's the matter of success by failures, right? And I think, because even I sometimes, when I do my introspection, right, I think I am my biggest critic. And for some others, particularly entrepreneurs, that can very well be their same fate, that they are their biggest critic. And I think that success by failure, we're going to experience failures, right? At some point along that journey, maybe a campaign didn't go exactly as you planned.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't get that client that you wanted in that moment. And so you consider those things as failures. Don't look at it as setbacks. I think those are lessons learned. You can pull from them. You can understand yourself better. You can understand your strategy and how to adapt. I think success by failures is nothing to be ashamed about. And so if there's one thing that I can leave, embrace your failures. Understand how you can succeed by embracing your failures.
I agree with you 120% on all of that.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, social media, find you at the SBDC? Like where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Certainly.
Or to you for the SBDC? I'd like to get that information.
So anyone who wants to reach out to me, my social media handles is Samantha Rolle. So I'm on LinkedIn, I am on Facebook, as well as on Instagram. For SBDC, certainly you can reach out to us. You can either stop by the office, which is off Gladstone Road, or you can contact us via phone, 461-SBDC or 461-7232. And of course, yes, we have a plethora of social media platforms as well. And you can find us there. SBDCBahamas.com is our website.
Awesome. Well, Sam, it's so good to catch up with you and to chat. And I can say, for as long as I've known you, I learned so many new things about you today. So I'm sure our audience will have a greater appreciation for Samantha Rolle, the woman.
Oh, thank you.
And I do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A huge thank you to our guest, Ms. Samantha Rolle, for sharing her expertise and vision for economic and business development in the Bahamas and beyond. If you loved this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Stay connected with us on more groundbreaking discussions with industry leaders who are shaping the future, not just of the Bahamas, but of the world. Until next time, keep innovating, keep making an impact, and we'll see you on the next episode of Innovators and Impact.